I'm 42 years old, married for 17 years, two kids, a house that still smells faintly of the vanilla candles my wife insists on burning. On paper, my life looked stable, comfortable, predictable. That's probably why this hurts as much as it does. Before everything cracked open, I thought I was one of the lucky ones. Not perfect marriage, but solid. The kind where you know each other's routines, flaws, favorite meals, bad habits. The kind where love isn't fireworks anymore, but a low burning fire you assume will never go out. My wife Laura has always been magnetic. People gravitate toward her. She laughs easily, makes strangers feel seen. It used to make me proud. 3 years ago, my company started doing well. Better than well. Enough that I could afford things I never imagined growing up. One of those things was hiring a personal driver, mostly for long commutes, meetings, airport runs. It felt excessive at first. That's how Daniel entered our lives. He was polite, late 20s, quiet, professional, clean record, good references, the kind of guy who keeps his head down and does his job. At first, he was just the driver. Laura would occasionally ride with me. She'd chat with Daniel, ask about his day, normal small talk. Nothing felt wrong. I still replay those early months in my head, searching for the exact moment I should have noticed something. But hindsight is cruel. Back then, life felt normal, maybe too normal, and I had no idea I was slowly handing my marriage over to a stranger with my own car keys. Daniel became part of our routine faster than I expected. He drove me to work, picked up the kids from practice sometimes, drove Laura to errands when I was busy. It felt convenient, harmless. Laura started mentioning him casually. Daniel is really reliable. Daniel recommended a new coffee place. Daniel says traffic is awful today. I didn't think much of it. Looking back, what bothers me isn't that she talked about him. It's how she talked about him. There was a lightness in her voice, a familiarity. Sometimes I'd walk into the kitchen and they'd already be mid-conversation, laughing about something I didn't understand. They'd stop when I entered. Not abruptly, just slightly, like a door closing softly. I told myself I was being paranoid. Laura and I were drifting a little at that point. Nothing dramatic, just years of routine, stress, parenting, exhaustion, less sex, more silence, more phones. I blame myself. I worked long hours. I wasn't as present. So when I noticed Laura dressing a little nicer on days she didn't go anywhere special, I figured she was trying to feel better about herself. When she lingered in the driveway, talking to Daniel after rides, I figured she was just being friendly. When Daniel started offering to help carry groceries inside, I thanked him. I trusted both of them. That's the part that still makes me feel stupid. Trust wasn't something I even questioned. It never occurred to me that the threat to my marriage was sitting in my own driver's seat. The first real red flag came disguised as something tiny. One evening, Laura was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the bathroom counter. I wasn't snooping. I swear that. I just glanced at the screen out of habit. A message preview popped up. Drive was nice today. No name, just a number. My stomach tightened. Not full panic. More like a gentle tug of unease. When Laura came out, I casually asked, "Who texted you?" She didn't hesitate. Probably one of the school moms. She picked up the phone and unlocked it so fast I barely saw anything. That should have bothered me more. But I let it go. After that message, something shifted in me, even though I tried hard to pretend it hadn't. I started noticing things I had brushed off before. Laura taking her phone into the bathroom more often, tilting the screen away when she texted, smiling at messages she wouldn't explain. None of it was explosive. All of it was small. That's what made it worse. Small things stack quietly until they crush you. Daniel became more present. He'd arrive earlier than scheduled. Sometimes he'd still be sitting in the car outside, long after dropping Laura off, scrolling on his phone. If I asked him to run an errand, He'd jump at it with almost eager energy. He was always polite to me, almost too polite, overly respectful, like someone trying hard not to be noticed. Laura started asking for rides even when she could have driven herself. "It's easier," she'd say. "Why not use the service we're paying for?" Logically, she wasn't wrong. Emotionally, something felt off. I tried talking myself out of suspicion. I told myself I was projecting my own insecurities, that my marriage wasn't exciting anymore, and I was scared of losing her, that I was inventing a villain because it was easier than admitting Laura and I were drifting apart. But the pit in my stomach didn't go away. One night, while we were watching TV, Laura laughed at something on her phone. A soft laugh, private, intimate. I asked what was funny. She said, "Just a meme." I asked to see it. She hesitated, just half a second. Then she said, "I already closed it." That half second replayed in my mind for days. I didn't confront her. I didn't accuse. I didn't snoop. I told myself I didn't want to become that guy. I wish I had been that guy sooner. Because not knowing is its own kind of torture, and I was only at the beginning. The real turning point came on a Tuesday afternoon. I wasn't supposed to be home. A meeting canceled last minute. I decided to drive myself instead of using Daniel. I didn't text anyone. I didn't announce I was coming back early. I just drove. As I turned onto my street, I saw my own car already parked in front of the house. That alone wasn't strange. What made my stomach drop was seeing Laura step out of the front door, dressed nicely, hair done, makeup on, not gym clothes, not lounge clothes, nice clothes. She walked straight to the passenger side and got in. Daniel pulled away. They didn't see me. I sat frozen for several seconds, engine running, hands gripping the steering wheel. My brain kept searching for innocent explanations. Maybe she forgot something. Maybe they were going somewhere for me. Maybe I was being dramatic. I followed them, quietly, at a distance. They drove about 15 minutes through side streets and turned into a small parking lot. They parked. They didn't get out. From where I sat, I saw their silhouettes shift toward each other, heads tilting, bodies leaning. No mistaking what that meant. Something inside me collapsed. I didn't confront them. I didn't pull in behind them. I didn't scream. I drove away. I went home, sat on the couch, and stared at the wall like a statue. When Laura came back later, she acted completely normal. Kissed me on the cheek, asked how my day was. I barely heard her. That night I didn't sleep. I kept replaying the way she walked out of the house without hesitation, like she'd done it many times before. The next morning I looked at Laura and felt nothing but a heavy numbness. Every smile felt staged. Every word felt rehearsed. I didn't know how to confront her because I technically had no proof, just what I saw, just what I felt. So I did something I never imagined I would do. I checked her phone while she was in the shower. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. Daniel wasn't saved as Daniel. He was saved as D. There were hundreds of messages, not graphic, not explicit, which somehow made them worse. I miss you. I can't stop thinking about yesterday. That time in the car was amazing. I wish I was with you right now. Then I saw a message from Laura that burned itself into my brain. I feel guilty, but I don't want to stop. I put the phone back exactly where it was. I sat on the bed and cried silently, shoulders shaking, trying not to make a sound. 17 years of marriage reduced to secret messages with my employee. The humiliation felt unbearable. I went to work that day on autopilot. I smiled at people, I answered emails, I nodded in meetings. Inside, I felt completely hollow. I confronted her that night after the kids went to bed. No plan, no script. I just said, "I know about you and Daniel." Her face went pale instantly. She tried to deny it at first, weakly. But when I told her I'd seen the messages, she broke down crying. I asked if she was sleeping with him. She hesitated, then whispered yes. That hesitation destroyed me more than the word. I asked how long. She said a few months. I asked where. She said mostly in the car, sometimes at a hotel. Hearing that made me physically nauseous. I asked why. She said she felt lonely, unseen, like we were roommates. She said Daniel listened, made her feel wanted. I asked if she loved him. She said she didn't know. I told her to cut contact immediately. She promised she would, swore it was over, begged me not to leave. I wanted to believe her because believing felt easier than accepting my marriage was dead. The weeks after the confession felt unreal. We lived in the same house but barely spoke. She tried to hug me. I pulled away. She cried constantly. I confronted Daniel at work and fired him on the spot. He didn't argue, just kept apologizing. Watching him walk out gave me no satisfaction. Laura showed me she blocked his number, deleted messages, started being overly affectionate. It felt forced, fake. Nights were torture. I lay next to her, imagining them together in my car, in parking lots, in hotel rooms. I stopped eating. Lost weight. Couldn't concentrate. My chest constantly felt tight, like I was about to panic. She kept asking what she could do to fix things. I had no answer. Some damage doesn't get repaired. We tried therapy, individual and couples. We used all the right words. Rebuilding trust, communication, transparency. None of it reached my heart. I couldn't touch her without seeing him. I couldn't hear a notification without assuming the worst. She grew frustrated with my lack of progress. She said I was stuck in the past. I told her the past was sitting between us every day. The kids noticed the tension. Asked why I slept on the couch. We told them we were working through things. I felt like a liar. The worst part was realizing I still loved her and hating myself for it. 6 months later, I discovered she had started talking to Daniel again. Different app, different number, same man. I didn't even feel shocked, just tired. When I confronted her, she didn't cry. She got defensive, said he understood her, said I didn't listen. I asked if she was choosing him. She said she was choosing herself. I asked for a separation. She said I was overreacting and destroying our family. We separated anyway. She moved into an apartment. The kids stayed mostly with me. Telling them we were splitting up was the hardest moment of my life. I didn't tell them about the affair. She went back to Daniel. That confirmed everything. Betrayal isn't a single event. It's slow, insidious, like a poison. You don't notice until it's in your bloodstream. After everything happened, I started questioning every memory, every laugh, every touch we ever shared. Was it real? Or was she already somewhere else in her mind, drifting toward him while I thought we were happy? I started doubting everyone, even myself. Friends offered advice, but I couldn't tell who was right anymore because I no longer trusted my own judgment. Every notification on my phone made my heart race. Every smile from a coworker felt suspicious. I couldn't trust the world around me because I couldn't trust the woman I had built my life with. I became hyper-aware of everything. Her gestures, the tone of her voice, the way she moved in the house, and every little thing I had ignored before now screamed betrayal. I realized that living in the same space with someone who had destroyed your sense of reality is worse than being completely alone. Some days I felt strong, almost numb. Other days I felt completely hollow, like I was operating as a ghost in my own life. And the worst part was the contradiction that haunted me constantly. I still loved her, even after everything, even knowing what she had done. Part of me was still drawn to her. That love wasn't the comforting, easy kind I used to feel. It was jagged, painful, full of resentment and longing all at once. I hated myself for loving someone who had humiliated me so deeply, who had shattered our family and broken my trust, who had used our life together as a playground for her selfishness. And at the same time, I hated the part of me that could even feel that love. It made me question everything about myself, my judgment, my worth, my capacity to be human, in a world where someone you loved could betray you so completely. The kids noticed the tension. Their eyes were wide, asking silent questions. They didn't know the details, just that something had changed, that life was no longer safe or normal. I had to act like everything was okay. I had to protect them from the chaos that was rotting the foundation of our family. But inside, I felt like I was rotting too. I replay the day I saw them drive away over and over in my mind. I imagine alternate versions where I confront them immediately, where I scream, where I destroy the car, where I somehow stop the affair before it escalates. None of it changes anything. The reality is that she chose him, repeatedly, knowingly, and every small choice she made along the way chipped away at the marriage I thought was unbreakable. Some days I wake up and feel like I'm living in a parallel universe, one where the life I knew was erased overnight, but without warning, without closure. I've learned that closure doesn't always exist. Sometimes the answers you want never come. Sometimes the apology you crave is never delivered. Sometimes justice never feels satisfying. You just survive, and every day becomes a test of endurance. I'm still learning how to exist alone in my own life, how to be a person without the identity of husband, without the illusion of shared trust. Healing isn't a straight line. It's jagged, messy, ugly. There are moments where I feel like I'm making progress, and then a memory, a sound, a random street corner will send me plummeting back into despair. I try to remind myself that I'm doing my best, that I'm still functioning, still taking care of the kids, still showing up to the world. But it doesn't erase the hollowness. It doesn't undo the disbelief that someone I loved so deeply could betray me so effortlessly. Some nights I lie awake wondering if people truly understand the gravity of this kind of betrayal. It's not just a broken promise. It's the dismantling of your reality, of everything you believed about your life and your family. It's a pain that exists in the gaps between words, in the small silences, in the mundane routine of living with someone who has become a stranger in your own home. And the truth is, there's no quick fix, no reset button. You just keep breathing and moving forward, and you try not to let the bitterness consume you entirely. The hardest part isn't the sexual betrayal. That's painful, yes, but it's tangible. What's unbearable is that she brought him into the very fabric of our life. She invited him into our home, our routines, our family moments. She let him know when we were vulnerable, when we were busy, when the kids were asleep, and when we weren't paying attention. She gave a stranger intimate access to the marriage I thought was private, sacred. That feels like a deeper violation than anything physical. I don't hate her, which surprises me. I thought I would, but hate takes energy I don't have anymore. Mostly I feel sadness and sometimes quiet rage that's more about myself than her. Sadness for what we were, for what we could have been, for the years now tainted by her choices. Sadness for the loss of innocence, for the way she manipulated our world for her own desires, while I continued to believe in us. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust another partner again. I hope I can, but right now, even the thought of being intimate or vulnerable with someone else feels impossible. If you're reading this and ignoring red flags, please listen to your gut. Pay attention. Don't ignore small warning signs. I didn't, and I paid the highest price I've ever faced emotionally. There's no coming back from that kind of intimate betrayal, no matter how much someone says they regret it. You just learn to live around it, like a scar you can't see but can always feel. I'm sharing this because I've never told the entire story without filters. Friends hear fragments, sanitized versions. Family hears vague versions. Therapists hear clinical explanations. But this is the raw version, the one that keeps me awake at night, the one that burns itself into my memory every time I close my eyes. I don't know what my future holds. I only know it's not what I imagined. I used to picture us growing old together, laughing, traveling, celebrating milestones. That future is gone. I sometimes wonder if she regrets it, if she thinks about what she destroyed, about the years she manipulated and lied through, about the family she tore apart. Maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't. Either way, it wouldn't change anything. Damage doesn't undo itself. Trust doesn't magically regenerate. The life we built together doesn't magically reassemble. All I can do is keep going forward, try to be a better father, a better person for myself, and accept that some losses are permanent. Some lessons are learned through pain that never fully heals. And this is mine. If there's any resolution, it's tiny, fragile, imperfect. I'm alive. I go to work. I care for my kids. I function. Some days even feel normal. Some days I laugh, but a part of me is permanently altered. Something in me shifted, like a bone that healed crooked. It works, yes, but not the same. I no longer believe in soulmates or fairy tale love. I believe in choices, daily decisions, and in the horrifying reality that people can become strangers even after decades of shared life, shared history, shared love. My wife did. And I'm learning to live with that truth. Slowly, painfully, honestly. I don't know if I will ever completely trust again, but I'm learning to trust myself. I'm learning to survive with the memory of what happened, the betrayal, the stolen years, the destroyed illusions, and maybe that's enough for now. Maybe that's all anyone can hope for when the person they loved most chooses someone else, a stranger, while the life you built together collapses around you. I keep going because I have to, because there's no undoing this, no turning back, only moving forward and trying to remain human despite it all.